What's going on, everybody? It is Brian from SecretsBeverageLab.com, and this is the Secrets Beverage Lab podcast for Monday, May 20th, 2013, and episode number 35. Same age as Sean. I mean, Sean's 35, or 35th episode. So we're basically old as shit. But hey, nonetheless, we have a special guest now, so I want to get to. So I'm Brian, and I'm drinking the War Rye Farmhouse Ale by Backlash that I got from Leary's in Newburyport, Mass. today. So drinking that, going down pretty good. And because of how late we're starting, I'm going to hop into another one soon. Carla, what's going on? Oh boy, Carla's muted.
No.
Carla's muted.
Muted.
As Carla fixes her sound, we go to Mike. Mike, what's happening, brother?
Not too much. I am not muted, and I am drinking a Longhammer IPA from Red Hook because, as I stated earlier, I was unable to find our good friends Backlash at the two locations that I went to, but I will enjoy this nonetheless. Also, follow me on Twitter at @MoMeredith.
Nice little plug for yourself, too. You're getting used to this.
That's how I'm going to get rich, man.
Yeah. Speaking of getting rich, filthy rich, Norm, what's up?
Book deal.
Norman Miller from Metro West Daily News, Real Beer Nut on Twitter. I'm drinking Backlash Declaration, the last Backlash beer I could find in the Leominster-Fitchburg area tonight.
Nice. Awesome. And we got Sean Jansen coming in from Two Beer Guys. What's up, man?
I am drinking the Backlash Convergence Super Season!
Whoa.
Freaking turned out.
Wife must not be home.
No, the neighbors moved out already.
If there was anyone sleeping, I just woke you up. Even
Awesome.
the gimp.
Awesome. Oh, boy. And Carla, can you hear us? No, can't hear you yet.
Oh, God, no.
So, but hey, we'll get to Carla in a second. We're going to quickly hop into Helder. Helder from Backlash. What's going on, man?
Not too much. I'm hanging out here, drinking some Mystic Mary of the Gale. Just about to finish that up. And on deck, I have some Stone Subliminally Self-Righteous Ale.
Ooh, very nice.
Just hanging out, so I'm excited to get into that one. But this Mystic's drinking really nice too.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. We're going to get to you in a quick second. Sorry we're running a bit late tonight, but let's see what went on. So before we get started, tell your friends, tell your brewers, tell your beer stores, tell everyone that drinks a pint of beer that you see, SBLpodcast.com. We've been talking to brewers, breweries, store owners, beer bloggers. If you want to know about beer, talk about beer, and you want us in your earbuds 24/7, like you like Norm's little voice. You get them 24/7 at SBLpodcast.com. Couple quick shout outs that I did last week before we get into talking to Helder here. I was out in Kansas City last week. Got a chance to stop at a couple good bars, and I want to give a quick shout out to Pat's Hopped Up, which is in the corner of my shout outs page right here. He helped me find some good beer places out in Kansas City, and some good beers there. Another quick shout out to WHYM, WHYM, which sounds like a radio station, but it stands for Water, Hops, Yeast, and Malt, which is a craft beer bar that opened in Portsmouth. And it actually opens officially tomorrow, and Sean and I had a chance to go out there and check it out. And WHYM. And it's Alex Gilbert knows what he's doing about beer. It's a great little spot. I put some pictures in the show notes that shows their location, the outside, the inside. They also have a place they call the Grotto, which is basically this cool hollowed out room where you can it looks like you can have like Knights of the Round Table meeting. Like if all five of us want to go do a show right now, we can just go hunker down in the Grotto. But check it out there. And then last but not least, the British Beer Company opened up a location in Portsmouth. So they are now established in New Hampshire, which is perfect. I actually think they were in Manchester before, right?
Yep.
Manchester. Quick shout out to. So check them out. And they opened up, and there's a big fake lion in there too. So check out that. I know it's pretty crazy, but I'll put some pictures up as well. But anyone else do anything they want to give a quick shout out to?
Sure. I went to the Jack's Abbey Lawson's collaboration Smoked Maple Ale release party at the dive bar in Worcester the other night. They had several Lawson's beers on tap and Jack's Abbey beers, plus the new collaboration, which was fantastic. The beer's available all over, and it's fantastic. There's everything from Jack's Abbey and Lawson's tends to be. So I went to that, so I just wanted to give a little heads up to look for that beer.
Sweet. Sean or Mike, you do anything worth giving a quick hey-o to?
You first, Mike?
Same time, go.
I went to Redbones on Friday and I spun the wheel.
Oh,
So yeah, and
now
I
tell
got
us what that is.
screwed.
What's the wheel?
Okay, so for anybody who hasn't been to Redbones, when you in Davis Square, awesome barbecue place, you walk in to their top level bar, and there is a wheel that goes, I believe, 1 through 22, and you can spin the wheel, and whatever you land on, that's what you get. So I was feeling adventurous. I saw a lot of great things on tap, and I spun the wheel, and I got freaking original sin cider. I was like, and my buddy was buying, so I couldn't turn it down, and so I had a nice cider.
I could think of something worse. You could have.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't terrible. I mean, I don't hate ciders. I actually really enjoy them.
It could have tasted like a certain melon.
Oh,
It could have. It could have tasted like watermelon.
oh boy.
I'm just kidding. But no, it's a lot of fun. The bartender had a lot of laughs. You know, getting us all hyped up, and a bunch of people spun the wheel in our group, so it was fun. But I was the one that was lucky enough to get an original sin. So
The bartender's having laughs at the customer's expense. It's like,
oh god, he was so funny. He spun it, and like it was so close to being, crap. Honestly, it was something a lot better than original sin. And like he was like, oh, that's cider. That's you. This is what you get. And I was like, ah, thanks, excellent, excellent. I'm gonna drink half of this.
pour it out right here.
Yeah. But it was fun. Had a pulled pork sandwich. Enjoyed myself. Good times.
Sweet. Speaking of pulled pork, Sean, what'd you get up to, pal?
Great segue. I love it.
Yeah. I just take the last words that someone else said. Speaking of whatever, next person.
No, last week was pretty busy for me, actually. It was American Craft Beer Week across the New Hampshire
America
area. We had about 25 different events we were doing. So there's a lot of craft beer events last week. One of the big highlights at a place in Manchester, they had 9 beers from Founders on Draft, featuring both Doom and KBS. And KBS, a quarter barrel, kicked in 12 minutes.
Whoa.
Yo.
12 minutes.
And how much of that did you have?
I wasn't there, unfortunately. I wish I was. But I mean, if you didn't get there on time, you missed out.
Cool. Well, looking forward to talking to you some more. And Carla, thanks for joining. What are you drinking, and what's going on?
I have switched over to Slum Brew Happy Soul. It was raining today, and I really needed a little bit of sunshine, so it's got some awesome, legit, real oranges in there, and it's very, very nice, and it's reminding me of spring, and that it won't be raining for much longer, hopefully. I just got back from Utah. Was there yesterday. Just got back yesterday from Utah. My archer placed 5th in the nation, got an award, so I'm really excited. And I managed to find some beer there, so I brought back some squatters, and then a friend who does social media at Teniana Creek Brewery in Las Vegas also sent me home with a couple bottles, so I did end up bringing home some nice stuff from the West, so very cool trip.
Awesome. Well, hey, we're going to cut right to the chase. Like I said, special guest in the house, and it's time to get into the Situation Room. If I had a sound effect to bring us into some serious level, but it's not going to happen because we're talking about beer. So Helder, again, thanks for joining. And I mean, would you mind giving us a quick, how'd you get started with craft beer, and what's the passion behind Backlash?
Oh no.
Or you can unmute the mic. Oh no.
No.
There we go. That's
Hey, no, it's perfect. We got you. No. So, do you hear the question?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
All right.
I was just saying, like a lot of other people who've kind of come up recently, I've my background is all in homebrewing. So I started homebrewing when I was about 21 years old, about 8 years ago, and just built up an arsenal of some really some well-received recipes, and we're starting to get a lot of positive feedback. And I think anyone who kind of gets into it at that level has like a dream of one day doing it professionally. So I shared that with a lot of people, but it wasn't until the contract brewing model kind of started showing itself as like a legitimate way to make beer. Contract brewing kind of was looked down upon a long time ago. There's like a stigma associated with it. And we're starting to see a little bit more of that kind of coming back now. But, Pretty Things and other clown shoes were making really good beer under the model, or at least under the model of not owning your own distillery. So we decided to take a stab at it, and I think we just got really lucky in terms of timing, in terms of interest right now in craft beer is pretty huge, and especially with local focus and everything. So, that's basically how we got here. That was about a year and a half ago, a little bit over a year and a half, but we're coming up on our second anniversary, the first or last week in July. So,
Cool.
yeah,
And
time flies.
so I know we have kind of a split with our brewers that contract out. So
Hmm.
how did you come across Paper City, which is where Mike and I are from?
Yeah.
And so how did you come across that? Was it just more towards where you were living, or?
No, no, not at all. I mean, I live in Fenway in Boston, so it's
Oh,
an hour and a half each
yeah.
way.
Oh,
So it's definitely not logistically the most efficient place, but there really aren't very many locations that contract that are close to Boston anyway. We definitely picked the furthest one, but at the time we were talking to them because they, Pretty Things used their Pretty Things actually started their brewing there, so we knew that you could make good beer under the contract model there. So that's kind of where we started, and it was a really good fit personality wise. They're okay with us like dropping by on a whim. I know a lot of other contract or host breweries tend to keep you at like arm's length, and it was important for us to be able to have a certain element of control in terms of being able to come by whenever we wanted or be there on brew day and help out, and not be kind of pushed back from the process. So it just seemed like a good fit from the start. We didn't really explore too many other options. We just wanted to get going.
Nice. I guess we could hop right into the beers. Hop into the
Well,
beers.
well, but
Oh,
even
no, sure,
before that, Brian, you mind?
sure.
Hold it, just because there's a lot of people that may not know. Can you just talk a little bit about what it is to be like? What's a typical day being a contract brewer?
Sure. I mean, it really depends a lot. There's a lot of shades of gray when it comes to contract brewing, in terms of how involved you can be as the contract brand. Like I was saying earlier, a lot of places will kind of choose to keep you out of it, and whether it's for insurance reasons or just for control reasons, they want to make sure that they have the full control of the process, and you're basically sending them a recipe. And then there are other places that afford you a little bit more of control over the process. So for us, um, I'm there on brew days. I try to be on every single brew day. I haven't been able to be there for every single one, but whenever we're brewing a new beer or making adjustments to a recipe, I'm there to kind of oversee it and just make sure that any adjustments that have to be made on the fly are made. And I will actually help the brewing process. But that system has been in use for 20 years by that head brewer, so I really defer to him on a lot of stuff. I kind of compare it to like if I had asked one of you guys for a ride somewhere, I wouldn't expect to like drive your car, but I'll tell you how to get there, and like maybe I know some roads that are better, a better way to get there. But ultimately, like your brakes might be a little like a little soft, so the intricacies of your car. So I kind of defer a lot of that stuff to the brewer at Paper City.
Cool.
I never thought about it that way, but that's a cool description.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's different from brewery to brewery. That's played into the decision that we made to go there, because they're cool with us hanging out and getting our hands dirty as well.
Awesome. Mike, you got a question?
yeah. I'm always curious. Obviously, homebrewing is the first step for a lot. For pretty much everybody, in this industry. What was the first beer that you ever brewed, and what was it like? Jumping into that, and did you know right away that this is something that you might want to do as a career and eventually make a go at it?
So the
'Cause
first beer I brewed actually with my college roommate, and it was like a brown ale, kind of like a Newcastle type beer, and
mhm.
it was terrible. It was so bad. Oh my god,
Mhm.
it was like borderline undrinkable. But I don't know. I guess my personality is I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I'm like anal retentive about stuff. So I really wanted to figure out what went wrong, and just kind of go through the process. And eventually, I think as a home brewer, you kind of become more serious about it, and you commit more money to like your system and stuff. So then, I started like to go all green, and I just when you're doing extract brewing or whatever, a lot of that stuff is kind of done for you ahead of time. So I kind of fast forwarded myself into a brewing it in a way that I could have control over every raw ingredient or whatever. So, my second beer was like a Bavarian Hefeweizen, and that one was a little bit better. So, I still feel like I didn't really make good beer for about a year or two, but I kind of stuck with it.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, as a contract brewer, do you have goals to maybe open your own brewery someday? Would you want to do that, or you like the contract model
No,
more?
I thank God for the contract model because like we wouldn't exist right now if we hadn't been able to do, launch the way we did. That being said, like I said, I'm kind of a control freak and I want to be able to control the process and just have more, more control over production and everything. Right now unfortunately we're sharing space at Paper City with several other brands, so it would be really nice if we had 100% capacity for ourselves. So that's something that we've kind of decided more recently is we need to take a harder look at opening our own place in the near future. And I think we're coming up on 2 years now. We're doing a good job about getting the brand out there. So I think in the near future that's going to be something that we're going to consider very seriously.
I guess like it's kind of a good segue into the beers because you guys, are almost 2 years, but it seems that everyone's gobbling up the beer at festivals and at the stores and everything.
Yeah.
So how do you handle that demand if you can only get a certain amount of time at the facility?
We just try to get ahead of it as best we can. It's tough because the brand is really growing like every month. Because just kind of organically as people talk about it and more press gets out there and everything, so it's really hard to forecast out how much beer we need to produce ahead of time, and because we can't just brew at the drop of a hat, it gets really difficult. So we've just been erring on the side of caution these past few months and just brewing as much as we possibly can around the clock whenever we have an opening, just taking it.
Cool.
So that's the best we can do right now is just kind of just produce as much as we can and hope it's enough, and usually it's not even enough.
Yeah. So to anybody who's not familiar, do you want to give us kind of like a rundown about what your beers are like, what you brew all the time, and some of kind of your special stuff? Just kind of introduce us to what you brew.
Totally. So we launched with the concept of doing kind of Belgian-inspired beers. So to that end, our first beer is a Belgian blonde called Groundswell. Right now that beer has kind of evolved a little bit, and right now it's about 6.4% ABV, brewed with some organic lemon peel. So it's a really nice light beer. That's kind of what we consider to be our bridge beer. A beer that you could hopefully give to anyone who's drinking like Shock Top and Blue Moon or whatever. Kind of what we kind of call fringe drinkers, who are just curious about craft beer but might be a little bit intimidated by it. Give them that beer and just kind of show them that you can drink good craft beer and doesn't have to be made by InBev or whatever. So that's kind of our year-round best mover. We also have Declaration, which Norm is drinking right now, Belgian IPA. That's our other flagship beer, kind of that's for the hophead who might be beyond drinking a light wheat beer. And we just re-released Convergence, our saison, which Sean's drinking. That's going to be our third year-round beer, so that's actually a big piece of news that we haven't even released yet.
Super saison.
Yeah, so we're going to keep the saison on year-round.
Yay!
Yeah, we had every intention of doing that last year, but we had some issues with yeast and all that stuff. So we had some QC issues that we took care of, and those are our three. Aside from that, we've done most recently we did the Apocalypse series, which I think Brian, you said you were drinking War.
He was drinking water.
He is, yes.
Oh,
Brian's drinking War.
Yeah, so he's drinking War, which is one of the beers in the Apocalypse series. The concept behind that series was really to craft a beer after each of the four horsemen of the Apocalypse, kind of playing off the whole Mayan calendar apocalypse thing, which was supposed to happen last year. So
nice.
We brewed a white IPA for Conquest, because Conquest, the horsemen rode a white horse. We brewed War, which is a saison with a bunch of different yeast strains in it, kind of infused like an element of conflict into the beer. And then Famine was a triple that we brewed using only one kind of malt and one kind of hop.
Nice.
And then we brewed Death, and we dumped the entire batch. Death was set to be a Russian Imperial Stout brewed with chipotle peppers, and it just didn't really live up to our standards. So we had to kind of pull the plug on that one, and we hope to revisit that this year.
It killed itself. It just knew.
Yeah.
Self-fulfilling prophecy right there.